Kirk's life took a shocking turn yesterday, and fans are still reeling from the revelations that unfolded. Imagine waking up to discover that someone you trusted not only questions your loyalty, but is publicly claiming what's rightfully yours. That's exactly what happened when Jasmine, in a dramatic twist nobody saw coming, declared that she deserves half of Kirk's immense fortune. Social media erupted instantly as videos and screenshots began circulating, showing Jasmine's bold statements and Kirk's stunned reaction. Emotions ran high as viewers watched the tension unfold, wondering if this is the beginning of the end for Kirk's carefully built empire. The situation escalated quickly during a private family gathering, which was supposed to be a casual dinner. Instead, it turned into a fiery confrontation that left the family divided and rumors swirling across every platform. Friends who had once been close to the couple were caught in the crossfire, trying to mediate but failing as accusations flew like lightning. "I've sacrificed too much to watch my life's work be taken from me," Kirk was heard saying, his voice cracking under pressure. Meanwhile, Jasmine's stance was unyielding. "I deserve what's mine. Half of everything, Kirk. You know it's fair," she insisted, eyes blazing with determination. Fans are shocked, and the drama doesn't stop at the personal level. Analysts and commentators have jumped in, dissecting every word and action, speculating on the legal battles that could unfold and the potential impact on Kirk's public image. Was this a calculated move by Jasmine, or a genuine claim born from years of unacknowledged contributions? The questions are mounting, and nobody has a clear answer yet. One thing is certain: the tension is real, and the fallout is only beginning. Viewers everywhere are glued to their screens, waiting for the next explosive update in this saga where wealth, trust, and betrayal collide in the most unexpected ways. Kirk's world, once seemingly untouchable, began to unravel in ways that no one, not even his closest confidants, could have anticipated. The storm ignited at a private brunch meant to celebrate his latest business milestone. But what started as laughter and light chatter quickly spiraled into accusations, raised voices, and the kind of drama that only reality television could dream of capturing. Jasmine, dressed in a striking red ensemble that seemed to command attention as much as her words, confronted Kirk in front of a room full of friends, family, and associates. "Kirk, you've built an empire. Yes, but I've been by your side through every single sleepless night, every negotiation, every calculated risk. I deserve half, and you know it," she declared, her voice steady, unwavering, yet laced with raw emotion. The atmosphere thickened immediately. Glasses trembled in hands, forks hovered mid-air, and even the most stoic of Kirk's business partners looked at each other in disbelief. Fans watching snippets of the confrontation on social media were quick to react, flooding comment sections with shocked emojis and frantic speculations. Emotions ran high, read one post, and the family was left divided in seconds. The tension was palpable, a living entity in the room that refused to be ignored. Kirk, who had always maintained a composed public image, seemed momentarily disarmed, his usual confidence shaken. "Jasmine, this isn't the time or place," he began cautiously, trying to maintain control. "We can discuss this privately. You know the implications of making such claims openly." But Jasmine's eyes flashed, and she interrupted sharply. "No, Kirk, I've been silent for too long. Everyone here needs to hear the truth. I've contributed, I've sacrificed, and it's time that's recognized. Half of everything is mine." Her words hit like a lightning bolt. Friends who had previously been supportive of Kirk now exchanged uneasy glances, unsure of where their loyalties should lie. Some whispered among themselves, debating whether Jasmine's demands were justified or a strategic ploy to destabilize Kirk. Meanwhile, Kirk's own family, usually the bedrock of his decisions, appeared torn. His sister, who had been silently observing the scene, finally spoke up, her voice trembling. "Kirk, are we really going to let this happen without considering everything? Jasmine is serious. We can't ignore it." The room erupted into a series of overlapping conversations, each one more intense than the last. Kirk's lawyer, who had been summoned quietly to the brunch, stepped forward, attempting to mediate. "We need to handle this legally, not emotionally," he urged, adjusting his glasses nervously as he surveyed the growing storm. But Jasmine wasn't backing down. If anything, her resolve strengthened as she noticed the subtle hesitation in Kirk's allies. "Legal threats won't intimidate me anymore. I want fairness, Kirk, and I won't leave without it. You've built your life on public admiration and private secrets. But I've been there in both, she shouted, her tone punctuated with an unmistakable mixture of anger and hurt. It was a scene that resembled a courtroom more than a celebratory brunch, and as more of RCR's friends and family weighed in, the emotional stakes grew higher. The air was thick with accusation, betrayal, and unspoken grievances, each comment digging deeper into a wound that had clearly been festering for years. Fans online were glued to their devices as clips and screenshots of the confrontation went viral within minutes. Some took Jasmine's side, praising her courage and calling out KRK for what they perceived as long-standing arrogance and entitlement. Finally, someone is holding him accountable. One viral post read, accumulating thousands of likes and shares in hours. Others rushed to defend KRK, emphasizing his generosity, hard work, and the challenges he faced in building his empire. The debate was polarized, intense, and unrelenting. Social media became a virtual battlefield, with each side dissecting every facial expression, every pause, and every gesture captured in the leaked footage. Kirk, always the strategist, realized quickly that the public narrative was slipping from his control, and that every word Jasmine uttered was fueling speculation, gossip, and judgment that could have long-term consequences. As the day progressed, tensions escalated beyond the brunch setting. Jasmine didn't retreat to strategize or plan her next move quietly. Instead, she went on a public posting spree, sharing cryptic yet pointed messages on her social media. Equity isn't just a number, it's respect, acknowledgement, and recognition of contribution, one post read, accompanied by an image of a luxurious mansion that had long been rumored to be jointly invested in by the couple. Fans dissected the image, speculating whether Jasmine was hinting at ownership claims or simply flaunting a victory she felt was deserved. Meanwhile, Kirk remained largely silent, his legal team working frantically behind the scenes to assess the potential fallout. Sources close to him revealed that he was furious, but also deeply concerned about the optics. He feels betrayed, but he's also aware that reacting publicly could make things worse, an insider said. The story was spiraling, a perfect storm of personal betrayal and public spectacle, each layer more combustible than the last. The drama took an even more unexpected turn when Jasmine's brother, who had rarely involved himself in public disputes, posted a statement supporting her claims. My sister has been nothing but loyal, yet her contributions have been minimized. The time for recognition is now, he wrote, igniting a new wave of attention and further complicating KRK's position. Friends who had been mediating now faced additional pressure, as they found themselves navigating a complex web of alliances, grievances, and public scrutiny. The emotional complexity was staggering. Some allies felt obligated to support KRK, while others quietly sympathized with Jasmine, torn between loyalty and a growing sense of justice. The family was left divided, each conversation, each gesture, carrying enormous weight. By evening, speculation about potential legal battles began to dominate discussions. Entertainment analysts and social media commentators weighed in, debating the possible outcomes. Could Jasmine successfully claim half of KRK's wealth? Would KRK's empire withstand such a public challenge? What about the media frenzy that had already begun to shape public perception? Emotions ran high, with some predicting catastrophic consequences for QRC's reputation, while others suggested that this could be an elaborate power play orchestrated by Jasmine to secure leverage in future negotiations. Meanwhile, the private exchanges between the couple, captured in leaked messages, revealed a tangle of resentment, unmet expectations, and underlying financial tensions that had clearly been simmering for years. Kirk's closest friends reportedly attempted to intervene late into the night. One friend, speaking on condition of anonymity, shared, "We tried to get them in a room together, just to talk calmly. But as soon as Jasmine saw KRK, the floodgates opened. She laid everything bare, her feelings, her grievances, her sense of betrayal. It was impossible to stop the momentum." Reports indicate that the discussion quickly devolved into personal attacks, with both sides dredging up past arguments, decisions, and sacrifices that had long been buried. Even the staff, who had witnessed Kirk's empire grow from modest beginnings, were taken aback. "I've never seen him so rattled," one assistant remarked. "He's usually the one controlling the room, but this time, Jasmine had the upper hand emotionally. Everyone could feel it." The night ended without resolution, leaving a tense standoff that spilled into the next day. Social media users speculated about secret meetings, emergency legal consultations, and possible reconciliations, but no concrete developments emerged. Fans were captivated, glued to updates, as the narrative shifted from brunch confrontation to ongoing family saga. Each development was met with fierce debate, some calling it a deserved reckoning for Kirk, while others lamented the public nature of the dispute. The tension was electric, a drama of wealth, betrayal, and human emotion that had captured the attention of thousands within hours. Kirk's private life had become public spectacle, and the stakes emotional, financial, and reputation never been higher. And just when it seemed that the day couldn't get any more chaotic, another twist emerged. A video surfaced showing a heated argument between Jasmine and one of Kirk's oldest business associates. Voices rose, tempers flared, and accusations of mismanagement and secrecy were thrown across the room. "You all think you can hide the truth. I know everything, and I'm claiming what's rightfully mine," Jasmine yelled, slamming a hand on the table for emphasis. The associate, visibly shaken, attempted to respond, but the intensity of Jasmine's conviction rendered him speechless. The recording quickly went viral, intensifying fan speculation and making headlines across multiple platforms. Fans were split, some calling her audacious and fearless, others labeling her aggressive and manipulative. The divide was widening, and Kirk's carefully curated public persona was showing cracks under unprecedented pressure. By the early morning, whispers of potential settlements and behind-the-scenes negotiations began to circulate. Yet, no one could confirm anything, and the suspense only heightened the drama. Kirk's empire, built over years of strategic decisions, faced its most volatile threat yet, not from competitors or market forces, but from someone who had once stood beside him intimately and trusted implicitly. The tension, the accusations, the emotional weight all combined to create a spectacle that was equal parts heartbreaking and mesmerizing. Fans couldn't stop watching, and the narrative continued to unfold with the relentless unpredictability of a reality show that no one wanted to end. The morning after the explosive brunch confrontation brought no relief for Kirk or his inner circle. Instead, it amplified the tension, as the media and fans continued to dissect every moment, every word, and every expression from the previous day. Jasmine, sensing the momentum was in her favor, began strategically posting more content on her social media platforms. Each post, carefully curated, seemed to be designed to reinforce her claim and keep public attention fixed squarely on the unfolding drama. One image showed her seated in a luxurious office, captioned, "Contribution recognized," or "Empire redefined." The ambiguity was intentional. Fans speculated endlessly, debating whether it was a subtle claim of ownership, a power move, or both. Meanwhile, Kirk faced a growing sense of isolation. Close friends who had once been his allies were now hesitant to be publicly associated with him, worried that their own reputations could be affected by the escalating feud. Emotions ran high, and the family was increasingly divided, each member weighing loyalty against emerging evidence of Jasmine's active involvement in the empire's growth. The drama intensified when Kirk called an emergency meeting with his legal and financial team. In a private, tension-filled room, advisors presented a detailed analysis of potential outcomes if Jasmine pursued her claim through legal channels. "The optics are bad, Kirk. Even if you retain full ownership, public perception is shifting. You have to act decisively, but carefully," one lawyer cautioned. Leaning over a table stacked with documents and spreadsheets, Kirk listened intently, his face a mask of calculated calm. But sources close to him described the tension in his jaw and the way his hands gripped the edge of the table as signs of growing frustration. Jasmine, aware of these developments through her network of insiders, was emboldened. She reached out to former collaborators and public figures who had once praised Kirk, hinting at her claims and asking for acknowledgement. The ripple effect was immediate. Fans online began dissecting these interactions, and speculation mounted that the drama could extend far beyond personal grievances into public scandal and corporate disruption. At the center of the storm, Kirk and Jasmine's private conversations became a digital battlefield. Leaked messages revealed a mixture of raw emotion, strategic maneuvering, and cutting accusations. "You've always wanted control, but I've built too much of this empire myself to remain invisible," Jasmine wrote in one message, her tone unwavering. Kirk's reply was firm, tempered with a mixture of frustration and disbelief. "You exaggerate your role. I appreciate your efforts, but this is not about recognition. This is about half my life's work. Fans poured over these exchanges, dissecting the subtext and reading every punctuation mark as a clue to the evolving dynamics. Comment sections on forums and social media became arenas for debate, with supporters of both sides creating detailed analyses, timelines, and theories about what might happen next. The drama was no longer just a private matter, it had transformed into a public spectacle. A serialized narrative unfolding in real time. Amid the escalating tension, other family members and friends found themselves dragged into the conflict, often unwillingly. Some attempted to mediate, calling both parties to reason, only to be met with resistance. "I'm not mediating anything," Jasmine told one mutual friend sharply. "This isn't about feelings anymore. This is about fairness. I've waited long enough." Meanwhile, KRK's confidants, who had long advised him on business and public image, were growing increasingly anxious. Sources reported hushed conversations about potential strategies to protect his empire while minimizing the damage to his reputation. Some even suggested that a public acknowledgement of Jasmine's contributions might diffuse the tension, but Kirk reportedly refused, fearing it would set a precedent that could compromise his control over the business. The emotional volatility of both parties created unpredictable developments throughout the day. Witnesses recounted moments of near confrontation in public spaces, heated phone calls, and tense exchanges that ended abruptly with both sides refusing further dialogue. One insider described a particularly intense scene. They were at a mutual friends gathering. You could feel the electricity in the room. Every glance, every movement was loaded with tension. At one point, Jasmine slammed her hand on the counter and shouted, "This ends now. I deserve what I've earned." Everyone froze. Kirk's face went pale, and he quietly excused himself. Moments like these fueled speculation and sensationalized reporting, adding layers to the story and keeping audiences engaged. By the afternoon, whispers of behind-the-scenes negotiations began circulating. Some suggested that KRK had offered Jasmine a settlement that she had publicly rejected, while others claimed she was leveraging the situation to secure a more significant stake in the empire. These rumors only fueled fan engagement, with thousands of comments debating the merits of each scenario. Some praised Jasmine's audacity and determination, calling her a visionary standing up for herself, while others sympathized with KRK, emphasizing his decades of hard work and the risk of undermining an empire he had built from the ground up. The drama was no longer just a personal conflict. It had become a societal conversation about fairness, recognition, and the limits of loyalty and ambition. Later in the day, another twist emerged that left everyone stunned. A trusted associate, previously loyal to KRK, publicly sided with Jasmine, citing years of overlooked contributions and unacknowledged sacrifices. In a statement that quickly went viral, the associate revealed, "I've seen what she's done, the work she's put in, and the loyalty she's shown. It's more than just fair to claim half. It's overdue." The statement sent shockwaves through KRC's camp, forcing him to reevaluate his strategy and confront the reality that public perception could no longer be contained or managed quietly. Fans erupted in reaction, with hashtags trending worldwide, each one amplifying the stakes and turning what was once a private dispute into a global spectacle. As night fell, the situation showed no signs of calming. Jasmine's continued assertiveness, combined with KRC's defensive stance, created a delicate balance of tension that seemed on the verge of explosion at any moment. Sources revealed that both parties were preparing for possible legal proceedings, gathering documents, and securing testimonies that could support their claims. At the same time, the media frenzy and social media speculation ensured that every move would be scrutinized, analyzed, and shared instantly, adding pressure that neither could escape. Friends, family, and associates were caught in the crossfire, witnessing relationships fray and loyalties tested. It was a dramatic escalation that not only threatened financial stakes but also challenged personal relationships, reputations, and the dynamics of trust that had once been foundational in both their lives. By the end of the first 24 hours, the saga had already entered a new phase. Kirk, typically composed and confident, was reportedly unsettled, while Jasmine's determination appeared to be growing stronger. Each side was leveraging emotional intensity, public perception, and strategic planning to advance their positions, creating a highly combustible mix that could explode at any moment. Fans remained captivated, unable to look away from the unfolding drama, their fascination fueled by the unpredictability and high stakes of the conflict. As the night drew to a close, the world watched, waiting, wondering, and speculating about what would happen next, fully aware that this story of wealth, betrayal, and audacity was far from over. The morning following the previous day's chaos offered no reprieve for KRK. News outlets and social media platforms were ablaze with updates, speculation, and commentary. Clips from the prior day's brunch confrontation had been edited, shared, and reshared across every corner of the internet, turning what was once a private dispute into a public spectacle. Fans were dissecting every glance, every pause, every facial expression, searching for hidden meanings or signs of weakness. Some argued that Jasmine had cleverly timed her declaration, knowing the public would respond with overwhelming attention, while others insisted that QX's empire was now at genuine risk. The intensity of public scrutiny only heightened the emotional pressure on both parties. Kirk, usually composed and meticulous, was reportedly visibly shaken as he navigated the barrage of messages, phone calls, and social media notifications. By mid-morning, sources close to KRK revealed that he had convened an urgent meeting with his closest advisors. The room was tense, filled with legal documents, spreadsheets, and financial reports, each detailing the empire's assets and liabilities. If she pursues legal action, the optics are just as critical as the outcome, one advisor emphasized, flipping through the papers with careful precision. Kirk listens silently, occasionally interjecting with strategic questions, his jaw tight and his usual calm demeanor strained. Outside the room, Jasmine appeared to maintain her momentum, sharing more pointed posts on social media. One cryptic caption read, "Equity is not just money, it's acknowledgement, respect, and recognition." Fans erupted in speculation, debating whether she was hinting at a settlement or signaling that she intended to escalate the conflict further. The tension escalated further when mutual friends attempted to mediate, arranging private conversations between KRK and Jasmine. Eyewitnesses described emotionally charged discussions, where years of unspoken grievances came to the surface. Jasmine, her voice firm and unwavering, expressed frustration over perceived neglect and undervaluation. "I've contributed as much as anyone in this empire, yet my contributions have been minimized. I will not remain invisible any longer," she asserted. Kirk, trying to maintain composure, countered with reminders of his role as the founder and primary architect of the business. Yet, even in his measured responses, there were glimpses of uncertainty, a recognition that public opinion was shifting and that Jasmine's assertions carried weight. Meanwhile, the drama continued to spill into public view. Clips of KRK and Jasmine's confrontations began circulating alongside commentary from fans, entertainment bloggers, and industry analysts. Some praised Jasmine for her boldness, calling her a visionary standing up for herself, while others defended KRK, highlighting his years of hard work and the risks he had undertaken to build his empire. Social media became a battlefield of opinions, with hashtags trending worldwide and fan theories multiplying by the hour. The emotional stakes were further amplified by the involvement of extended family members, some of whom sided with Jasmine, citing years of overlooked efforts and sacrifices. The family, once a source of stability for KRK, now appeared divided and conflicted, their loyalties tested like never before. As the day progressed, unexpected twists continued to unfold. A trusted business associate, who had historically been a staunch supporter of KRK, publicly sided with Jasmine, praising her contributions and questioning the fairness of her exclusion from decision-making. The statement, released on social media, quickly went viral. Fans and media commentators interpreted it as a pivotal moment, speculating on the possibility of further defections or internal strife within QRK's team. The magnitude of the situation became increasingly apparent. What began as a personal confrontation was now threatening to destabilize not only QRK's empire, but also his public image and long-standing relationships. By afternoon, tensions reached a boiling point during a private sit-down with family and advisors. Kirk, attempting to assert control, outlined potential legal strategies and settlements, but each suggestion was met with skepticism or outright resistance. Jasmine, sensing a growing advantage, remained firm, insisting that acknowledgement and fairness could not be negotiated away. Witnesses reported heated exchanges, with voices raised and emotions spilling over. The room, once a place of calm negotiation, had transformed into a battleground of competing claims, resentment, and strategic maneuvering. It was a spectacle that seemed to mirror the dramatic confrontations often reserved for reality television, with every participant acutely aware of the high stakes involved. The evening brought another dramatic turn. A previously quiet family member released an unsolicited statement, publicly supporting Jasmine's claims and highlighting years of her unrecognized contributions. The move sent shockwaves through QX's circle, forcing him to consider both public perception and the potential legal ramifications. Fans reacted immediately, flooding comment sections with their opinions and fueling discussions that spanned across multiple platforms. Some viewed the support as a decisive win for Jasmine, while others debated the ethical and practical implications of dividing a private empire so publicly. The emotional intensity of the situation was unmatched, with alliances shifting rapidly and tensions escalating with each new revelation. Amid the mounting pressure, private exchanges between KRK and Jasmine revealed layers of complexity and emotional vulnerability previously unseen by the public. Leaked messages highlighted a mix of frustration, lingering resentment, and deeply personal grievances, each word adding fuel to the already raging fire. "You underestimate my role and the sacrifices I've made. This is not just about money, it's about respect," Jasmine wrote in one message. ARC's response, measured but visibly strained, underscored the delicate balance of power and the emotional toll of the conflict. Fans scrutinized these messages, interpreting each punctuation and pause as evidence of strategy, sincerity, or manipulation, further heightening the drama. By nightfall, the situation had evolved into a high-stakes standoff. Kirk, aware of the potential long-term impact on both his empire and his personal reputation, began exploring multiple contingency plans, including public statements, private negotiations, and legal strategies. Jasmine, in parallel, continued to leverage social media to maintain visibility and public support, ensuring that her narrative remained front and center. Friends, advisors, and family members found themselves caught in the crossfire, navigating a complex web of emotions, loyalties, and strategic considerations. The tension, fueled by both public scrutiny and private stakes, created a volatile environment where the next move could dramatically shift the balance of power. As the clock ticked into the early hours, both sides were reportedly preparing for the next phase of the conflict. Legal teams were compiling documents, advisors were strategizing, and public relations specialists were monitoring fan reactions and media coverage. The drama, far from resolving, had intensified, with each development adding layers of complexity and uncertainty. Fans remained captivated, glued to every update, every leaked message, every post, as the saga of wealth, betrayal, and audacity continued to unfold with relentless intensity. The story had transcended its initial context, becoming a multifaceted spectacle that intertwined personal relationships, financial stakes, and public perception, setting the stage for even more dramatic confrontations in the days to come. By the following morning, the tension surrounding KRK and Jasmine's dispute had reached unprecedented levels. News outlets ran continuous coverage, and social media platforms were flooded with fan reactions, commentary, and viral clips from the previous confrontations. Every movement, glance, and message was dissected, with speculations about possible outcomes trending across multiple platforms. Jasmine, seemingly unshaken, continued to assert her claim, strategically sharing posts that hinted at both her emotional and financial stake in the empire. One post showed a close-up of her hand on a ledger, captioned, "Every contribution counts, and so does recognition." Fans immediately jumped into discussions, debating whether this was a symbolic gesture or a literal claim to financial ownership. The momentum appeared to be firmly in her favor, putting KRK on the defensive as he struggled to regain control over the narrative. Throughout the morning, private negotiations and confrontations persisted. Kirk, flanked by his closest legal and financial advisors, attempted to construct a defense that could protect his empire while minimizing damage to his public image. "We need to act decisively, but we also need to be careful about optics," one lawyer cautioned. Kirk, visibly tense, nodded, aware that every misstep could be amplified in the court of public opinion. Meanwhile, Jasmine's team, including her brother and a small circle of loyal supporters, continued to engage with media and fans, reinforcing her claim and fueling speculation. Each move was calculated, each post and statement designed to keep the spotlight on her, ensuring that the public remained captivated and invested in the unfolding drama. The emotional intensity of the situation escalated during an afternoon family meeting, where both sides were present. Witnesses described a charged atmosphere, with voices raised and emotions spilling over. Jasmine's statements were pointed, unapologetic, and confident, emphasizing years of overlooked contributions and the need for equitable recognition. "I've built this with you, KRK, and I will not be ignored. Half of what we have is rightfully mine," she declared, her voice echoing through the room. Kirk, usually composed and authoritative, appeared visibly rattled, occasionally pausing to gather his thoughts before responding. "Your contributions are noted, but the empire and its decisions have always been mine to make," he said firmly, trying to assert control while navigating the emotional intensity of the confrontation. The conflict quickly spread beyond private spaces as friends, business associates, and even casual acquaintances were drawn into the narrative. Some allies attempted to mediate, while others were forced to choose sides. One insider revealed, "People are walking on eggshells. Everyone is aware that their words, loyalty, and opinions are under scrutiny. No one wants to be on the wrong side of this, especially given how publicly visible it has become." The public, of course, remained intensely engaged. Clips, screenshots, and commentaries from the previous day's confrontations were shared relentlessly, fueling online debates and polarized opinions. Some praised Jasmine for her courage and audacity, while others defended KRK, emphasizing his decades of effort in building an empire from scratch. By late afternoon, an unexpected twist intensified the drama. A former employee, who had previously maintained a neutral stance, publicly sided with Jasmine, praising her dedication and highlighting years of unacknowledged effort. "She has been the backbone behind many successes that people attribute solely to KRK. Recognition is long overdue," the statement read, quickly going viral. This endorsement added a new layer to the conflict, as KRK's supporters scrambled to respond and reassure the public of his vision, leadership, and contributions. Fans were captivated by the rapid escalation, analyzing the motivations and implications of each development with feverish interest. As evening approached, Kirk and Jasmine engaged in private discussions that were intensely personal and strategically significant. Leaked messages and screenshots revealed a mix of frustration, anger, and determination. "I've stayed loyal and committed, but my work cannot continue to be ignored," Jasmine wrote in one message, emphasizing her emotional and financial stake. Kirk responded cautiously, attempting to balance acknowledgement with defense of his authority. "You are valued, but your claims need context and fairness. Half of the empire cannot be transferred based on emotion alone," he countered. Fans dissected every word, punctuation, and timing of these exchanges, drawing conclusions and making predictions about the next moves in the saga. Amid the growing tension, public appearances by both parties became events of interest in themselves. Jasmine attended a networking event, subtly highlighting her influence and contributions through conversations and social interactions, while KRK maintained a controlled presence at business meetings and interviews, aiming to demonstrate leadership and resilience. Each public action, each carefully curated interaction, was scrutinized by fans and commentators alike, feeding a cycle of speculation, debate, and viral content. The drama had evolved beyond personal conflict. It had become a narrative that encompassed professional, social, and emotional stakes, with every move carrying potential consequences for reputation, relationships, and influence. Late into the night, reports surfaced of emergency meetings with high-profile advisors, suggesting that KRK was preparing for a decisive move. At the same time, Jasmine's social media presence remained unyielding, with carefully timed posts reinforcing her claims and sustaining public interest. Analysts and fans speculated endlessly. Would this lead to legal battles, a negotiated settlement, or a dramatic public reconciliation? Each scenario seemed plausible, yet unpredictable. As emotions continued to run high and strategic calculations were weighed alongside personal grievances, the anticipation, suspense, and intensity created an atmosphere that few could resist observing. As the saga of KRK's wealth, Jasmine's bold claims, and the cascading drama captured the imagination of a captivated audience by the end of the day, it was clear that the story was far from resolution. Kirk, once the uncontested architect of his empire, was now navigating a complex web of public scrutiny, legal implications, and emotional confrontation. Jasmine, unflinching and determined, had secured public support and momentum, demonstrating that her voice and her claims could no longer be ignored. The stakes, both personal and financial, had never been higher, and fans remained riveted, eager for the next twist in a saga that promised drama, unpredictability, and high conflict at every turn. The unfolding events had transformed a private dispute into a global spectacle, one that continued to captivate audiences and dominate conversations around wealth, power, and personal recognition. The following morning brought a new wave of intensity, as KRK and Jasmine's saga continued to dominate headlines, social media feeds, and fan discussions. Overnight, leaked snippets of private conversations, video clips from prior confrontations, and insider commentary had circulated widely, fueling speculation and heightened emotions. Fans on various platforms debated endlessly, dissecting every gesture, tone, and statement, often taking sides based on incomplete or selectively edited information. The public fascination had reached a fever pitch, with hashtags related to the feud trending worldwide. Amidst this frenzy, Jasmine remained unshaken, strategically sharing posts that highlighted her contributions and underscored her claim to half of KOC's wealth. One particularly pointed post featured a close-up of her hand resting on a contract. Captioned, "Recognition isn't optional, it's overdue." Fans erupted, interpreting the image as both a challenge and a declaration of resolve. While KRK faced the growing reality that his control over the narrative was slipping. In the early hours of the morning, Kirk convened a high-priority meeting with his closest legal and financial advisors. The atmosphere was tense, filled with the hum of whispered consultations, the rustle of papers, and the gravity of decision-making under pressure. "If this escalates legally, we need to protect both the assets and the public perception. Every move counts," one advisor emphasized. Flipping through spreadsheets and documents detailing ownership structures and contractual obligations, Kirk, normally confident and commanding, listened intently, occasionally interjecting with precise questions, his jaw tight and his posture rigid. Behind the closed doors, strategic discussions focused on multiple scenarios: negotiation, settlement, or potential court battles. Every option carried risk, particularly in the court of public opinion, where fan sentiment had already begun shaping narratives. By mid-morning, the private negotiations became increasingly public, as allies and extended family members began weighing in. Mutual friends attempted to mediate, arranging private discussions meant to reduce tension, yet the exchanges often escalated into emotionally charged debates. Jasmine, unwavering in her stance, emphasized both the emotional and tangible contributions she had made over the years. "I've been there through the triumphs and the challenges, and my work cannot be disregarded. Half of everything is mine, KRK, and it's not negotiable," she insisted. Kirk countered with reminders of his foundational role in building the empire. Yet the intensity of Jasmine's conviction created an atmosphere thick with tension and uncertainty. Witnesses described the room as electric, each word, gesture, and expression loaded with years of unspoken grievances. The public spectacle intensified as insiders revealed that a longtime business associate, historically loyal to Kirk, had quietly sided with Jasmine. In a now viral statement, the associate acknowledged her contributions and emphasized that recognition had been long overdue. "Her influence has been pivotal to the successes we all attribute to KRK. It's time," the record reflects that, the statement read, sparking widespread discussion among fans and commentators alike. The unexpected defection amplified the drama, adding complexity to KRK's challenge of maintaining authority while navigating the court of public opinion. Analysts and fans speculated on potential ripple effects. Could more allies shift their positions, and what would this mean for KRK's leadership and legacy? As the day progressed, private messages between KRK and Jasmine revealed the emotional undercurrents driving their conflict. Leaked screenshots showed a mixture of frustration, anger, and determination. "I've remained loyal and contributed silently, but I will no longer be overlooked," Jasmine wrote in one message, emphasizing both her emotional and financial stake. Kirk's response was carefully measured, attempting to maintain authority while acknowledging her claims. "Your contributions are valued, but half of an empire is not something that can be determined through emotion alone," he replied. Fans scrutinized these messages, analyzing punctuation, phrasing, and timing for signs of sincerity, manipulation, or strategic maneuvering, further intensifying the drama. By afternoon, public appearances by both parties became high-stakes events. Jasmine attended a networking session, subtly emphasizing her influence and contributions through carefully curated interactions. While KRK maintained his presence at key meetings and interviews, aiming to project resilience and control, each public action was dissected by fans and media outlets, adding layers to the ongoing spectacle. Conversations and social interactions were now laden with meaning, with every word or glance interpreted as a potential clue in the unfolding narrative. The tension had evolved beyond personal conflict, encompassing professional, social, and emotional dimensions that amplified the stakes and captivated audiences worldwide. Later in the evening, a previously silent family member released a statement supporting Jasmine, highlighting years of unacknowledged efforts. The move sent shockwaves through QRC's circle, forcing him to address the mounting public pressure and reconsider his approach. Fans reacted immediately, engaging in heated debates online and speculating about next steps. Some viewed this as a decisive win for Jasmine, reinforcing her claim and legitimacy, while others debated the implications of such a public family split, questioning the potential damage to KRK's reputation and the stability of his empire. The atmosphere was one of high tension and unpredictability, with every development amplifying the stakes and keeping audiences riveted. By nightfall, the saga had reached a critical juncture. Kirk and Jasmine were both preparing for potential legal proceedings, gathering documentation and testimonies to support their respective positions. Social media buzzed with speculation, with fans predicting possible settlements, courtroom battles, or dramatic public reconciliations. Each scenario seemed plausible, yet unpredictable, as emotions ran high and both sides carefully weighed strategic and personal considerations. The drama had evolved into a multidimensional spectacle, intertwining financial stakes, emotional conflict, and public perception into a captivating narrative that continued to dominate conversations and headlines. As the day closed, it became clear that the story was far from resolution. Kirk, once the uncontested figurehead of his empire, was now navigating a volatile mix of public scrutiny, emotional confrontation, and potential legal ramifications. Jasmine, resolute and determined, had secured momentum, ensuring that her claims remained front and center in the public eye. Friends, advisors, and family members were caught in the middle, navigating complex dynamics, shifting alliances, and the unpredictable consequences of public exposure. The stakes, both personal and financial, had never been higher, leaving fans captivated and eager for the next twist in a saga that promised relentless drama, intrigue, and high-stakes conflict at every turn. Can you believe everything that's happened so far? Kirk's empire, the wealth he's built over years of dedication. And now Jasmine boldly stepping forward, claiming she deserves half. It's the drama we never saw coming, and it's far from over. Fans are divided, emotions are running high, and every twist seems to make the stakes even higher. You've seen the leaked messages, the heated confrontations, the public declarations. Now it's your turn to weigh in. What do you think KRK should do next? Should he fight to protect everything he's worked for, or is it time to acknowledge Jasmine's contributions and find a way to compromise? Your opinion matters, and we want to hear it. Comment below and tell us who you're rooting for in this epic showdown. Are you Team KRK, believing he built his empire from the ground up and deserves to hold on to it entirely? Or are you Team Jasmine, convinced she's been a driving force behind the success and deserves recognition and half the wealth for all she's contributed? Every comment adds to the conversation, and we're tracking the hottest debates from our fans all over the world. Don't hold back, share your thoughts, predictions, and even your wildest theories about how this saga might unfold. Make sure to hit that like button if you're shocked, surprised, or simply can't look away from this unbelievable story. Every like helps others discover the drama and get caught up in the frenzy, too. And if you want to stay in the loop, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're bringing you the latest updates, insider leaks, and all the twists as this story develops, sometimes before the mainstream media even catches wind. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment, because trust us, you won't want to blink. Finally, share this video with your friends who love high-stakes drama, whether it's your family, your group chat, or your social media followers. Everyone needs to see what's unfolding in KRK and Jasmine's world. The story is evolving every hour, and the next explosive revelation could be just around the corner. Will alliances shift? Will the empire survive? Will Jasmine actually claim half, or will KRK find a way to defend what's his? Only time will tell, but you'll be the first to know if you stay tuned. Stay engaged, and stay part of the conversation. Now it's your moment. Comment, like, subscribe, and share. Be part of the drama, the debate, and the excitement. Every click, every reaction, every opinion counts. Don't just watch, participate. This is your chance to weigh in on one of the most shocking, heist conflicts of the year, and we're counting on you to make your voice heard.